Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to show you how I made a fence to go on the drill press table that I had just did. Quick and easy project, and put tracks on it and it works out great. And I'll show you how I do this. I found another piece of scrap leftover cabinet grade plywood. There's a piece here that's more than 27 inches that I need, a little over 28. Also, I've got some T-tracks here yet, some cut-off pieces from other projects. I've got a new one here, but this is only 24 inches long, and I need to go 27. So I think I'll do is take the short one here, combine these two, and I'll make so that these join up at the left end. Since I'm right-handed, I could usually be working with stops at this end here. That's my left, your right. So I'm going to make my joint here on the left side, if there's any catching to be done, because most of the time I'll be coming in from my left on this side. Then, I'm going to cut a 3/4 groove to fit these T-track in here before I cut these down to size. I'm going to measure up and put my groove to be T-track to be about 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom. Since I'm making the fences are going to be 2 3/4 inches tall, and I use a 3/4, and then I need to come down a little bit with a clearance hole for the drill chuck. So got to measure all those out, make sure we're getting it at unbalanced correctly and not too thin or weak anywhere. So first I'll do is trim this off a little bit, get a good straight edge, make my groove for the T-track, and then I'll cut them down to the widths that I want, and then I'll cut out the clearance for the drill chuck. Get that sanded up and shaped and get them glued together. Also, I'm going to cut some grooves in these, since these are going to sandwich together on top of each other. I'll put some grooves in here for the bolts that'll go onto the table T-track. That'll go into there, such as these bolts will. They'll go into the T-track on the table to hold the fence in place. So what I'm going to do is just to square off this edge here for now. Both these ends are pretty smooth. I think I'm going to use that as my good end. A little bit smoother than the other. Mark this off at 27. Now what I'm going to do is mark out where I want to put that T-track in, lay that out, use my router to do out the groove for the T-track. I'm going to locate the bottom edge of the T-track 3/4 of an inch up from the bottom of this fence. So I set this square to 3/4 inch, and I'll just use this, go along, mark out my line. Looks really good. Then I'll use that to mark up another 3/4, then a 3/8 between there will be my center. That's how I can set up my layout for routing the groove. Got my router here set up with a 3/4 inch straight bit, and I've got the height set to the T-track. That's set up perfectly, and I ran it on a test piece and fits perfect. Ready to do the real thing here. Now I have a Sharpie mark on here, and this is the edge that I always measure from for the center of the bit. So I'll run this edge against my guide here, make sure I'm consistent. Okay, perfect fit with the T-track. I'll put pieces in here to make it a full length for that. Next step is to cut the grooves in this for the bolts that are going to go through. These are 5/16 bolts, so I'm going to cut them at 3/8 width, and half of that is 3/16 of an inch. And I marked my centers on here for the center where the bolt's going to go. That lines up with that track. Its track centers are 12 3/4 inches apart. From the center of the board, that's 6 3/8 inches each way from the center. So then I'm going to use my dado blade here. I've got that set to a 3/8 cut for the width, and then the depth that I'm going to cut this at, that I set it at, is 3/16 of an inch between the two pieces that will sandwich together. That gives me a 3/8 inch width also as far as the depth goes. And I just pull this back, brought up a tooth, line that up where I marked my edges for the cut to be at, and that should make it right on center. Okay, got my grooves cut. So I want to cut these and then sandwich it together. This bolt will fit through just perfectly fine on that. Okay, here I'm going to rip this down to the 2 3/4 inch height for the fence, and then I'll do the second piece. Okay, now I'm going to do is sandwich these together. So when I sandwich these together, I've got these pieces here, little pieces of MDF I cut to fit into these grooves. That'll help to keep these two pieces aligned when I glue them together. And I'll wax these up so that they'll get glued in place in case any squeeze out gets into this part here. Okay, on this one piece here, it's going to have the T-track on it. This is the part that's going to be flat on the table here. So what I'm going to do is cut a small chamfer here with just my 1/8 blade to provide for dust relief. That'll work good for giving me some dust relief there. Time to start doing some glue up here. Try to clear it off here a little bit between these lines for the bolts here so I can avoid much squeeze out into those as I can. I'll line this up. I've got these pieces here that I'm going to wax up a bit. Just some paraffin wax. It's actually candle making wax. Those will fit into there. Hold that alignment. I'll start applying my clamps. Like this. To make sure we get some good pressure going all the way around here. Okay, now it's time to just watch glue dry. Okay, so I've got this completed here. Got the T-track set in place here and cut a piece to fill it up. I just haven't screwed it in yet. Got my space cut out for some clearance space for the chuck. Got my holes that lined up as these T-bolts will go into the tracks, and then the knobs go onto there to tighten it in place. Also, I've made a stop block here. Fit into there and lock in place for holding my work in place. Made little notches here just to give it dust clearance. So basically I'm going to get this T-track screwed into place and we'll be done. I use this snappy self-centering hinge drill bit. Get one screw started, and it's just like with the drill press table. I'm using number 6 by 3/4 inch flathead wood screws. And you put these in gently. You don't want to over torque them because these are small screws, so the heads will break off pretty easily. Got one there secured. This is my loose piece. Okay, all set to go onto the drill press. Okay, I've got this all set up on the drill press here. Try to keep my arms out of the way. And it slides back and forth. And my stop block here is going to lock down. Stop box slides along there so I can set wherever I need it to. Tighten that down to lock it in place. Might could use a smaller knob. So that's it. Came out, I think, perfect. Works out great. Heck of a lot better than that Harbor Freight job that I had.
Well, to wrap this up, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got the inspiration to make something of your own. Please give me a like and share with your family and friends. And please subscribe to see what I may come up with next. Thank you.